Alright, we should be live.
Looks like it is.
Alright, I've notified the players. Oh, looks like they actually jumped right into it.
They're just so eager to fight over this bronze medal.
I am okay with that. Oh, I like this. They even both sent me a spectator invite.
Alright, so it looks like a freeze mage versus Zoo.
I like this matchup because both players have to know, like, Zoo has to come out strong and really get an advantage early, or else he's just going to get shut down by things like Frost Nova and Blizzard.
Yeah, that's the key with a freeze mage matchup is just to be pretty aggressive. You know, if you can't be defensive, if you're a warrior, you can afford to be defensive. If you're not, you have to push as hard as you can and really just put them on the ropes early. I think freeze mage is like the greediest deck out there. It's just the slowest, most controlled deck there is. Even more control than warrior and handlock. It's really just control.
It is, because often you'll even neglect obvious trades that you would make, in any other normal circumstances.
Yeah, and you play very few minions. Even the two of the core minions are Doomsayers, which exist just to clear the board again. You can see right now that Wynn, actually, unfortunately for Wynn, he's got 3 secrets in his hand. That's not great because you want to get more scientist value than that. But yeah. He is hopefully at least going to get 1 secret out of that scientist. He could draw the other ice block next turn and just be totally boned.
Yeah, that would be a pretty awful start. I think he's really got no immediate danger. There's very little damage on the board. He has got that ice barrier to kind of just rely on to stall the early game. And this secret is the other ice block. Well, at least the worst case scenario is over where he cannot draw that other ice block. I guess that's some reprieve at this point.
Yeah, that is true. I do think that if I were playing Zoo right here, I probably would have gone Argus and then traded the Nerubian into the Scientist. but it's pretty minor either way. Or it seems minor until it's not.
I agree. Yep. All right. Looks like Shummy's about to test out the secret.
Looks like some good void collar value coming up. Yeah, a useless mad scientist, but Shummy doesn't know that.
Oh,
It's the same thing as if, when you drop a void collar as Zoo and you have no other demons in your hand, the other player is still very afraid to pop that.
so have you confirmed he is only running Ice Block, Ice Barrier?
I haven't confirmed, but that is pretty standard for the package, for the Freeze Mage package. It is possible that he's running something non-standard, but as soon as you see a Doomsayer, it's 2 barriers, 2 blocks, and that's it.
I always liked running 1 counterspell just for the, I guess, the wild card factor.
I mean, it's very possible. It's possible to be surprised, that's for sure.
Yeah, you are most likely right, though, considering there are unique tech cards like Malagos in this deck. I feel like he would have had to cut any extra secrets just to make impactful decisions with his card inclusion.
Very true. I think Malagos is the wild card here. That's rather atypical in Freeze Mage.
Yeah.
One point of order here. One of the things that it's easy to overlook is board positioning. You really want to see your Nerubian egg to one side of the board or the other, because if you drop that Direwolf Alpha and kill it, now you are not able to kind of keep going down the board. Obviously, it doesn't matter right here after that, but it's something to keep in mind. That should you be able to make successive trades with that Direwolf Alpha, you want the Nerubian egg far left.
Yeah, that's a good point. Alright, so we did see the first Flame Strike coming out early. Due to the various Death Rattle and card mechanics, there are still 3 minions on the board. Void Color died and recycled himself with the other Void Color. And despite having both Knife Jugglers in hand, it looks like Shummy is not going to play either one.
He's afraid of he's holding it for the value, I think, is what he's doing. He's hoping to drop them both and start pinging stuff down.
Yeah, plus
next turn he could go Knife Juggler Implosion.
It looks like he's almost playing in a form of insurance. He always wants something with a Death Rattle on the board so that a second Flame Strike that came out now, or even a Blizzard, would not completely leave him harmless.
Yeah, you definitely can't go all in against a Freeze Mage unless you know that they've spent all of their clears, their AoEs.
I mean, he has done a pretty good job at this point. He's life tapped a couple times, but he's not getting himself below 15, where Alex Straza would drop him anyway, if that were to come out. And at the same time,
yeah,
he's trading pretty well into the Mage. He's already done, 15 plus 8 damage. And once this next Ice Barrier gets popped, he's going to have to do a little bit more. We do now see both Knife Jugglers. I expect this kind of indicates he is going to pop that Spider now. That actually may prove to be a mistake, because here, if we see the Frost Nova Doomsayer come out, without two very high implosion rolls, Shummy has no way to fight against this.
Right. It's a little aggressive.
I mean, at least before he had that option of playing the Doom Guard if the implosion doesn't go well.
Well, now he can just Blizzard.
Do you want to, though? I mean, this is, in my opinion, this is a very good opportunity to use that Doomsayer and have it actually survive.
Right. I do think that's a fair point. Yeah, and then the Doomsayer goes off on your turn, so you then get to deal with whatever pops out of the Void Caller, which is worth mentioning.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a you force your opponent to lose a turn.
Yeah.
Because even say he does manage to kill the Doomsayer, that implosion's not giving him any imps, and he still has no space on his board to drop further creatures. So it really, in my opinion, is advantage Freeze Mage when that happens. We do see the Blizzard, though. We may need to ask him about that later on.
Oof.
Yeah, this seems like a pretty good spot to play that Void Terror as well.
So many possibilities.
If not for the
Yeah, he's thinking. Go ahead.
if not for the ice block, this is, you know, a very, very definite lethal turn with that Doom Guard and Power Overwhelming. I would have to think at this point,
Right.
Shummy knows what the secret is, so he's just trying to decide, okay, if I pop it this turn, what do I do next turn?
Yeah, but the tough thing is you don't want to pop it this turn because you're still leaving him at 9 health. You want to pop it when he's at 1 health. You'll be able to get closer.
Oh, right, yes, I understand what you're saying. But he's going to do it anyway, taking the risk.
Yeah, I guess, you know, he felt that, I mean, obviously he has the ice block in hand. Well, I guess he doesn't obviously have it in hand. I'm trying to think if Mad Scientist could have just not pulled it. So he's just threatening, you know. But that's his burst. I mean, that's his face burst. So if he can, you know, the Doomsayer Frost Nova Ice Block really puts you in a good spot.
Yep, I think Wynntense doing his own math, seeing what adds up to this 9 mana. That includes the ice block, I would have to assume. He's also in a position here where if he can manage to use that Fireball on the Warlock, he pretty much has a guaranteed victory next turn with that Pyroblast.
That is true. He could go if he had gone Frost Nova Doomsayer and Fireball Face, I mean, unless he had another Doom Guard and happened to not throw away a Power Overwhelming, that's game.
Yeah, I feel like he didn't make the wrong decision.
Oh yeah. Actually, even better is just Ice Block Fireball and then Pyroblast.
Right.
Take the face damage.
That is the turn I had in mind. You really...
That is the best turn.
You really only lose to a Kazan Mystic.
But now, I mean, he didn't pop the block, so he can still do it. He can still Fireball this turn. Yeah.
Okay, this time Shummy does drop his opponent's health before popping this ice block, or what he presumes is the ice block. as we know it is.
Well played.
And Pyroblast will take care of it.
It's the last time we're going to see this mage in this tournament. No reason to hide it. Pyroblast for the victory.
It was his only way to win anyway, so there's no chance of hiding it.
Yeah, I suppose otherwise he has to drop the loot hoard or kill it himself and just hope for, Frostbolt or something good. Something good.
Yeah, I think just going for the win was probably the right decision.
It usually is.
Your soul shall suffer.
All right, Warlock mirror match.
I was watching a little Kit Kats doing some streaming last night with Warrior, and he was making a point. He didn't say this out loud, but every turn, toward the end, when Lethal was close, he was always saying, "How do I win this turn?" And people were giving suggestions as to good plays to make. He's like, "Yeah, but that doesn't kill him." So he's always looking for a way to kill the guy this turn. I think that's a good way to get your mind, after turn 7, turn 6, turn 7, obviously depending on the speed of your deck.
I think it's a good exercise in general. As long as you are practiced at it, you can quickly make that decision, and you're not spending, a minute of your turn trying to detect lethal and then trying to scavenge the rest of the turn afterward.
Right. But there were definitely a few times during those the matches I was watching where he went for lethal while I was looking at board control, and I mean he won. He killed his opponent, and I go, oh, I wouldn't have even thought of that because I was looking at okay, I kill this guy, then I do this guy, I do this guy, just go for face.
Nice.
Yeah, now we're seeing Handlock versus Zoo. The classic 2 Warlock archetypes. It's not exactly a perfect zoo. It's not a real fast zoo. It's more of a combo demon zoo with power overwhelmings and Dr. Boom.
Yes.
It is a slow hand, but that's not necessarily a bad. Could be a bad thing, but it might not be a bad thing if you can last and make some good plays to shut down the handlock. Then you can be in good shape still. He does have 2 power overwhelmings in hand, which is great against a handlock because it's actually and an abusive sergeant. That's 10 burst damage right now. I'm not sure I like this. I would just pop the spider. I guess there's no Shadow Flame danger right now, but that's just something I think about.
Well, I feel like...
But that could be correct, because if he drops a giant this turn, now you have a way to deal with it.
Well, I feel like what we were saying last game, where with this faster Warlock deck, he has to get the early advantage and just really hammer it home. It seems he's trying to do more of the same thing here. Killing the egg over the spider definitely gives you more of an immediate damage burst.
Another point of positioning here, if he had his owl next to the wolf, then he would be able to use that and the haunted creeper as the owl dies, and then use the adjacent bonus from the direwolf alpha after that.
True.
So positioning is very important in these zoo and or demon lock decks.
Well, speaking of positioning, let's see where he decides to put this egg.
Yeah. He's debating whether to put. I do think far left is the correct position. I think it is.
Well, especially in this case,
you can get both out of it.
The 5/1 is a very juicy target. So if something is going to die this turn, it's highly, highly likely it will be that card. As we see, it's actually all of them.
Right.
Very well played by Wynntense. And actually, despite the opening onslaught from Shummy, they're very close in terms of HP. Oh, I feel like what we might see, though, in this case, Wynntense with both Taunt Givers in hand and knowing the deck that he's up against, I don't think he's really going to hold off on playing Lord Jaraxxus. He might really, as soon as he starts getting down close to the single digits in health, just throw out Jaraxxus, start dropping Infernals, taunting them up, and just making it nearly impossible for your opponent to do enough damage every turn to get rid of them. It's a way that Handlock tends to be played against Priest, and I guess just in the regard of having many small minions and answers in hand, you can play a similar matchup here. Well, that is a lot of bomb targets.
If he had played, he could have played a Sea Giant for 1 mana less earlier and still tapped this turn if he wanted.
Oh, interesting.
Actually, when he had a full board, the Sea Giant was 0. So when he killed off one of his guys, he then could have played it for 1. And there's, he has a Siphon Soul, which can deal with a Sea Giant, which he's really going to want to do.
Man, if only he had another Frost Nova here.
Again, he's got 10 damage in hand for 3 mana.
So many possibilities.
And also, a note in chat that was a really clutch implosion for 4. If that had been 2, it would have been much different.
Oh, wow, I hadn't even thought of that. Okay, the more conservative turn.
He's 1 point off lethal right now. With the Argus, abusive, double power overwhelming. He can bring the Warlock down to 1.
Oh, that's amazing. I feel like this turn it's okay to play the Argus at this point. Barring another Shadow Flame.
I would kill off the bots and play Dr. Boom. Although again, point of order, you want to attack with all of your guys that you're going to attack with before killing off the boom bots.
Right.
Well, I guess it is tough because if it does happen to kill, attack with all of them but 3, just in case one of them gets exploded, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. You need that insurance at the end in case.
I mean, or you can just go face. You can go full face. There's not a super big reason to kill off those bombs that I can tell anyway.
I get the feeling we're probably going to see Earthen Ring and another Shadow Flame coming here.
That would be sensible.
Or even maybe the Big Game Hunter, depending if he wants to save it for a Void Terror.
So many possibilities.
Yeah, I don't know if he's seen Dr. Boom yet in this deck.
It's the same that I'm wondering. Oh, we don't see the Shadow Flare. Instead, we see some taunting this turn. I think given the circumstances, that will allow him to survive another turn.
Yeah, I think he's got to be, unfortunately, going to have to be considering using his combo cards at this point, though.
It looks like that's what we're going to see.
But it's, it's necessary to deal with the threat of the giant. I think Boom is a pretty decent option here. I mean, from what you've got in your hand. The only other thing is to tap and sit.
Now though, Shadow Flame into Big Game Hunter is pretty much a perfect setup. You will take some bomb damage, but you get the full board clear.
Another point from chat is that imps are more valuable than spiders, and so he a couple turns ago when he was killing off the bombs, it's wise to kill off your spiders first, because the imps become more valuable if you have Mal'Ganis in your deck.
Oh, right, right. Yeah, I haven't seen it played in this tournament, but I am a fan of in the Demon Warlock specific decks. The card that is basically an improved Mortal Coil. It's deal 2 damage if it kills a minion, summon a random demon.
Bane of Doom.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Now, why did he attack that first when he was going to Shadow Flame the board anyway?
I don't think he wanted to take both bombs to the face.
Yeah, but if he could have not attacked and even possibly gotten both bombs on his Sun Fury. I guess he wanted to
I see what you're
try
saying.
to only get one bomb. Is that what he was thinking? It's possible.
Yeah, I mean, the only justification I could think of is, you know, trying to mitigate bomb damage.
This is gonna be painful. And here we see the turn.
Yep. Yeah, I pretty much expected this after the last giant got taunted up. It really just, all the steam that Shummy had built up really just got taken away. He can make some pretty creative plays here, given what's in hand.
He's got some options, but none of them are gonna win you the game. You know, he's especially with Jiraxxus in hand for the hand lock. This is gonna be GG.
Mm-hmm.
So many possibilities. Almost out of time.
Put this apple on your head.
Oh, the knife did land where it needed to. Did he have time to get this turn off?
Didn't quite land where it needed to.
No.
Well played.
You face Jiraxxus, Eridar Lord of the Burning Legion.
Now, there was a different combo that I saw there involving Power Overwhelming that if one knife had hit the giant, he could have taken it out. Again, it would have only meant a different order of losing that turn.
Malfurion versus Jaina. You asked for it.
I must protect the wild.
Not even a pause, and we're on to Tempo Mage against some form of Druid. I see a Fugan in hand. That's not typical.
Yes, this is the Wynntense Ramp Druid that runs Stalag and Fugan.
Just a comment to chat. It is never bad manners to emote with Jiraxxus anytime you get an opportunity. That is, in fact, the only correct way to play the game.
In case your opponent has forgotten.
You're hurting both yourself and your opponent by not emoting with Jiraxxus.
We don't see any of the traditional ramping cards coming out yet.
That makes Druids cry. No wild growth or innervate in your hand is a sad state of being. Oh, two mana faceless. That could prove for some interesting plays later.
Yeah, especially against a ramp druid.
Yep.
I don't think it's ever happened in CSW, but I would love to see Thaddeus come out this game. That would be fantastic.
Well, that's what we're rooting for. We don't care who wins. We just want to see cool shit happen.
Yeah. This is only game
The
4.
players make. Yeah. Also, we are heavily invested in seeing these guys play as many games as humanly possible.
Shummy still has a turn to play that flame cannon. But he plays it this turn when it's guaranteed to take out the stealth.
I think it's surprising that he's holding on to his Sorcerer's Apprentices and Flame Wakers. I'm not sure what the point is in that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he might fear early wrath, perhaps? Alright, we see another unstable portal in hand.
The useless Swamp Ooze.
Let's consider it a Bloodfen Raptor.
Someday I'll be just like you.
I must safeguard them.
Alright, and Wynntense not risking any cheaper spells coming out. Oh, that
Did
was...
he mean to do that for one?
Yeah, I think he did intend to get the card draw there.
Interesting. So he had some, he had some high cost cards, some decent plays for the next few turns. I wonder why he did that.
I like it too because it pretty much forces your opponent to use the hero power just to make the most of that trade. So if you do fear the tempo of the mage, like really having like a big turn 6 play coming out, that's a good way to kind of basically play mind games and kind of dare them and be like, go ahead, clear my board. And hey, plus he got to draw a card. It put him one card closer to this wild growth that he doesn't want anymore. Oh, this really actually, with the Savage Roar and the swipe in hand, this mage is a lot closer to lethal than we would initially expect. I guess it goes back to what you were saying earlier about watching Kit Kat's games.
Yeah, thinking about how do I kill this guy.
He is pretty darn close.
Runs out on me.
You gotta make sure you attack with that Shredder. If you attack with the Shredder first. Well, yeah, he's got the combo in hand. Druid now has combo in hand.
Yeah, still one turn away from making good on that. I feel like now, with his opponent down to just 2 cards in hand, we probably will see either Swipe or Wrath come out this turn.
So there's a few things in chat I want to talk about. Some people talking about Shummy holding off on playing early cards and going for a bigger combo. I think that's what I would consider to be greedy. If you're playing, I'm not sure if he is playing actually a tempo mage, but the point of a tempo mage is to gain tempo. So, and by you do that, now maybe he's running a combo deck. I haven't actually seen his deck list, so I don't know. Actually, I might have seen his deck list. Maybe I do have it in here somewhere. But I think it's better to just try to fight for board control early, especially if you know you're playing against a ramp druid. If you can push early, playing as a druid, facing a heavy board full of sorcerer's apprentices and flame wakers and stuff like that, it's really tough to come back from. Let's see, the other thing was talking about using the Wrath for one instead of killing the Swamp Ooze. Again, I think that's just a little greedier than I tend to play. I think it's better just to clear it off. You're saying, well, maybe you could hero power next turn, but then you've got to dedicate 2 mana to your next turn to kill it, when really you might rather be playing Dr. Boom for 7. Now you've got to play Fugin for 5 and hero power for 2. You want to leave yourself with as many options. You deal with stuff now to not lock yourself in next turn. That's one of the reasons Overload's not very good as a shaman, is because it forces you to, it holds you back next turn, which is really tough.
I think this was a very good time for Lotheb to come down. Really, especially with what we can see in the Druid's hand, limits his options incredibly this turn.
I don't know if dropping the counterspell at the same time was a good decision, though. I think you're already shutting down your spells for one turn,
That does seem a bit wasteful, and we have seen the Kazan Mystic in some of Wynntense's other decks. I would expect it's also here in this Druid deck somewhere.
Well, maybe we can see a Stalag come down with that Faceless Manipulator, and we can see some fun times begin.
That I've just been sitting here kind of crossing my fingers that Shummy holds on to that Faceless. I think we've expressed it before, where the first undead horror is not the important one, it's the second one that counts. We see it is now a mirror entity that came out as the secret.
It's too bad he wishes that was a counterspell right now. Actually, the mirror entity is probably going to prove to be pretty good.
Yeah, I would say so.
I just see the combo in hand and I go, man, a counterspell against a force of nature is just, it's just the dream. He has 14 on the board, so actually this mage is very likely to take this.
Yeah, it's getting very close. The immediate 15 damage that he could play next turn, which actually is now up to 20. Fireball still wins this. It was not meant to be.
So, if you're clearing the other Ancient of Lore, do you do it with Boom, or do you do it with your own Ancient of Lore?
I'm somewhat thinking, how important is that one spell power? Trade the Drake, trade one bomb, and know that the other bomb's going directly to face?
Well, the Drake you just played, so you can't attack with that.
Oh, it's still Shummy's turn, right?
Yeah, I think clearing with Dr. Boom is the right call. You've seen both Wraths come out, so I think that's worth it.
Yeah, there's very little risk in that play. And now there's a very good chance that Wynntense has to use his Savage Roar combo just to clear the board. Or
Yeah,
some
just
of
to
this
stay
board.
alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that doesn't even really do you all that much. You know, it clears 11 off the board. I mean, it does quite a bit for sure.
No, he's gonna play this a bit differently.
Well, he's still clearing the same amount
Right.
with whether he does Savage Roar or not. So I think he made the right decision there.
Well, I was thinking that the Savage Roar allows you, as a hero, to also get that 2 damage.
Oh, that's a fair point. I kind of forgot about that. So you would have been able to clear off. You would have been able to clear off the Ancient of Lore, left him with a Scientist and 2 bombs.
My thanks to you.
Oh, that's lethal. Now.
Yes, it is.
Well, how about that? Thanks, RN Jesus.
All right, we're going to game 5.
4, I think. Wait, was that 4?
That was 4, I believe. I don't. Did Shummy ever win on his Warlock?
No, I don't think so. So we had. Are we? I don't know. Chat, help us. We're old people with short memories.
I know for certain that Wynntense has 2 wins.
Yes, I also know that for certain. Well, we seen the Warlock come out, so I guess he didn't win with it. And what was the first deck Shummy played with? Or the other deck? Did he play with Warlock twice?
Yes.
Okay. I think he's got Patron Warrior. Is his other one? We are good casters. We are great esports casters.
The casting's fine. It's the scorekeeping that needs work.
Yeah, record keeping, not our strong suit. Yes, we work up to our paycheck level. That is accurate. Actually, Way works above it. He actually makes some graphics and stuff. I just show up with a beer and talk about stuff.
It's like union work.
Are you allowed to drink when you're in a union? I may need to change. I may need to join that.
As long as it's Pabst, I think it's okay. Because it's union beer. Alright, we do actually, somewhat earlier this time around, we see Wild Growth. Does Wynntense even care?
Well, he also just played it. Now he sees his second Wild Growth.
Ah, good
Sorry
call.
guys, Way is really, really drunk.
I was
He's all hopped up on Claritin.
trying to catch up on chat for possibly the first time in the night. Well, a very juicy Wrath target. And Ragnaros. Only 2 turns away.
Again, see, I don't know. I guess there probably is the right decision, but I don't know. I use my hero power for 1 a lot more than I use my wrath for 1. But I do think it's probably the right decision to wrath for a card there, as he's getting up in mana and lower in cards in hand, and he did pull a rag, which is very helpful.
Well, I mean, especially he had the Ancient of Lore in hand. He knew if nothing else, he can play that on turn 7. So if you're going to get good value out of the Wrath, that's a pretty good time for it, because the rest of your turns are pretty well curved out.
It's a fair point.
Oh, high roll implosion.
Oh god. But if that was his plan, he could have done that even with a low roll implosion. Wait, we've seen this board before.
It is oddly familiar. Sea Giant in hand again. Well, the bombs were paying attention earlier when we said the demons are higher priority. Ragnaros, however, not. He was busy.
Rag doesn't know what he's talking about.
There were flaming hammers to be forged.
Too soon, Jason. Too soon.
I do think this is interesting, though, because it immediately puts some pressure on Shummy. He either has to find swift victory or some way to get Rag off the board.
Yeah, playing Broom helps. Again, you know, there's another point from chat that Druid is really wishing he had Swipe in his hand right now.
Oh, for sure. You know,
that turn or the last turn.
Actually, when as a Druid do you not really want Swipe?
When your opponent has no cards on the board.
I don't know, man. Those 5-swipe arena games, it's amazing. You can just nuke them down with a couple innervates and swipes.
Time waits for no one.
Yeah, a couple combinations. You can play the Ancients and Hero Power. You can play Stalag and the Shredder. Well, and speaking of Swipe.
Hey, there's his Swipe. Too bad I didn't grab an innervate.
My thanks.
Wow.
Oh!
So good RNG going both ways.
We saw Wynn emote the thanks before we saw what actually transpired, so...
Yep.
Minor spoiler alert. Yeah, the RNG went pretty well. Well, 4 damage on Rag is good. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's about what you want.
Yeah. Given the situation, that is certainly ideal. I don't think we're going to see that Sea Giant coming out anymore.
So many possibilities. Almost out of time.
Yeah, that was a...
That's some lucky RNG right there.
Well,
I mean, it worked.
I think that's kind of the turn he was expecting.
Yeah, but if that, yeah, I guess that would have still been fine. I was saying if the bomb had gone face,
Yep.
but then he could have Argused.
Yeah, exactly. Oh wow, the Zombie Chow. I don't think we've seen that in this Druid deck recently.
Another missed tap. If he wanted to tap there, he could have by playing the Voidwalker first.
Yeah, I guess even though it's not a handlock, it shares a lot of similar mechanics. That really...
Those giants.
They come more naturally through practice.
Yeah. That's one of those things that really does just take a lot of practice, is thinking out all the mana costs of your giants. How does this affect that? It's a very complicated interaction.
For Wynntense, I don't see any possible way to get that giant off the board this turn. But he can put himself into a pretty good position where Shummy might be forced to start trading. Oh, Sylvanas.
Oh,
Definitely lining up.
Sylvanas, very helpful.
At the very least, it'll make this a more interesting endgame.
Although the keeper in Wynn's hand is going to make her pretty quiet pretty quickly.
So many possibilities.
We haven't seen in Shummy's deck any Shadow Flame cards, have we? I don't believe he runs them.
I don't believe he runs them. I don't think so.
Yeah, I was thinking that would be the only way to get an immediate Sylvanas effect without using another Power Overwhelming.
Note that the silence only on one does not take care of the other.
Yeah, and Wynntense knows this, because I'm pretty sure he's the one that taught me about that.
Oh, this is a glorious swipe opportunity.
I must safeguard.
Alright, and we see precisely that.
Except he could have even, if he had done 2 damage, oh, he wouldn't have done 4 to face, which I guess he was more keen to do 4 to face, which I guess is sensible.
Yeah, he's in a very commanding position.
Yeah.
If he's left to be with this current board, he has exact lethal next turn. Oh, we're gonna get our wish.
Huzzah!
Going out with style.
Well played.
Let's hear that Thaddeus attack. Just attack.
Well, I'm
Bronze
happy.
medal goes to Jason Wynn.
So we did find a scorekeeper. That was officially the last game.
Well, they're not playing another one, it appears. So
Right.
I think they kept scored themselves.
That was an excellent way to go out.
Yeah, we even got to see Thaddeus. Everyone saw their wish, which is just wonderfully exciting.
Alright, that should do it for the night. We're going to be back tomorrow for the CSW finals. And then we'll see you guys in a couple of months.
Yeah, everyone come and tune in for tomorrow. It's going to be a great match. Rematch from last tournament. Rematch of the finals from the last tournament. So it should be really exciting to see.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I hope to see everybody there. Have a good night.
Good night.